Boy, do I have a video for you today. I recently went to Japan, and long story short, I exposed my film to the CT scanners. So I'm making this video to show you what that could look like. Now, a little background information. I put my film in a Ziploc bag, and I went to JFK and asked for a hand check. And they hand checked it with no problem. Then I landed on my first leg of the trip in Haneda airport, and I had to transfer to a plane to go to Okinawa. I went through security at this point, and I forgot that while on the plane, I loaded a roll of film on my Pentax 17 to take some pictures of the wing of the plane, which every photographer probably takes while on vacation. And so I forgot the roll was in the camera. So I took the clear plastic bag, gave it to the people in Haneda airport. They hand checked it, no problem, but I forgot the roll of film was in the camera. When I landed in Okinawa, I remembered that the film was in the camera and I went through the scanner, but I thought it was a regular X-ray scanner because the ones they had were just like black boxes that looked like a typical X-ray scanner. And I thought the CT scanners were like this jumbo engine looking thing, but now they make them in the black boxes. So I thought it was an X-ray, and from my research and experience that film below ISO 400 usually doesn't have a problem with X-rays, so I just shot on the film. And then one night when I was in Japan, I thought about the instrument, and I'm like, let me just look it up. So I remember the instrument name. I typed it into Google and found out it was CT scanner. Now at this point, I probably had half the roll used. So I didn't want to throw out the roll, so I just finished off the other half of the roll. And at this point, I knew most of the photos may be trash, but this is why I'm making this video now, to show you, it might be usable. But there is factors that are involved. So a CT scanner is really up to the operator, because the operator could choose how much radiation it's going to shoot into your luggage and how many times it takes a scan. So it's up to the operator how strong the signals are and all that. Also, the film that did go through the scanner was inside the camera. Now, the Pentax 17 camera is a very lightweight camera, so I don't know how much radiation it would block from the scanner. I will do a review on this camera later, but for now, in this video, I'm just going to show it off for a quick second. But it was in the body of the camera, so I don't know if that had an effect of blocking some radiation. And also, this camera is a half-frame camera, so you do expect a little more grain and less resolution. So if you do send 35mm full frame roll through the scanner, it might be better than what you see here, or it might be worse because of the other variables. But what you're going to see here is maybe an operator that didn't use as much radiation, along with the film being in the camera, and it is a half-frame camera. So I'm going to show you some results. I'm going to show you results of film with the CT scanner, and I'm going to show you some results of film that I bought in Japan that was fresh, and what those photos look like. Also, the photos you're about to see were developed by Reformed Film Labs, which is in Florida, and I chose their highest resolution to scan the film with, and I did not perform any editing on the photos, so this is exactly how it looked from their scanners, so you can get the full effect of what we're looking at. Also, before I show you these pictures, I do want to say the film I used. So the film was Ultramax 400, and I shot it in the Pentax 17, and I set the ISO dial to 200. So basically I overexposed the film by one stop. I would have done this anyway, and this is what I planned to do while I was in Japan, but this probably definitely helped, because I saw online that if your film does go through a CT scanner, that'd be a little more underexposed. So this probably fixed a lot of those problems. But let's just jump into these pictures here. Now, these pictures are the ones that I think are grainier than usual, that I usually get from the product of the Pentax 17. So we're just going to look at some of the grain in these photos. So as you can see, there is a lot of grain in these photos, and another thing I noticed is some of them were a little bit underexposed or muddy, which wasn't really expected because I did shoot this one stop overexposed. So I think the CT scanners did underexpose it a little bit, because if you think about it, the film went through the CT scanner and got exposed with the radiation. So now I'm putting a picture on top of it and it's not going to expose correctly. So here are some of the pictures I felt like had a underexposed feel to it. So from these photos, you can see that they are a little underexposed, as well as the ones that were in the grainy set I showed. They do show a little bit underexposure plus a little muddy look. And these pictures in particular, I feel like some of them might have been underexposed because the background was brighter than the foreground. But usually this camera doesn't really have a problem with that. It's pretty good at exposing what's in front of the camera rather than what's behind it. I feel like this was mostly due to the CT scanners. Now I'm going to show you some of the good photos I think that came from the roll. Now these photos mostly came from the center of the roll. So with the roll being inside the camera and the layers of the film in the roll, I feel like the center of the roll was protected most from the radiation. So I found a lot of my best pictures being at the end of the roll, which would be the middle of it, or like the direct center. So these are some of the good pictures. So those were the good pictures, and I feel like I got pretty good pictures from the center of the roll. So I definitely think that the radiation didn't reach all the way to the center of the roll. So maybe where your picture lies within the strip is going to affect how much it's affected by the CT scanner. Even one of the pictures from the CT scan roll, I entered into a gallery because I thought it came out so well. So before we jump into looking at the photos from the roll that wasn't exposed to the CT scanner that I bought in Japan, I just want to go over why your experience may vary. You have the operator of the CT scanner. You have if your roll was in or outside the camera. Like if you brought a big metal Pentax camera, it might protect the film more than this little tiny Pentax 17 camera. Then also, I feel like where your photo is in the strip will also depend how your photos will look. So overall, your experience may vary, but I wanted to put this video out there so like when I knew it went through a CT scanner, I did tons of research to figure out if I was screwed or not. So I would have enjoyed a video like this to show that there is a possibility I'm not screwed, but I would love to see anyone else who had CT scanner experience to comment in this video and maybe create like a forum. So this becomes like a one-stop shop for people who are nervous about their film going to the CT scanner. They could see other people's experience as well as my sample photos from my own experience. But now let's jump into the good roll and see how those photos came out compared to the ones that I got that were more grainy and a little bit more underexposed. So as you can see from these photos, they came out better exposed and less grain. But Actually, the selfie that I took on the bad roll came out pretty good with exposure and grain. So it's really hard to tell, but definitely I felt like the other roll that didn't go through the CT scanner, that it produced better pictures. I even added this picture here that was definitely on the underexposed side and like a dark environment, and you really don't see as much grain as you would see in the CT exposed film, so I feel like the grain was definitely higher. Also, you may be asking why I only had 2 rolls of film in a place like Japan, and easy answer is I also brought my digital camera, and a lot of the photos were taken on my digital camera, and this was mainly like just a tag along item that I used and had fun with, but a lot of the photos came from my digital camera. Plus, I was pretty lucky, and it rained a lot of the days, so I ended up not taking out my camera a lot on some of the days where it rained. So I hope by this little experience video that it kind of cured people's curiosity, as well as help people that are probably in this situation right now frantically researching about it, and maybe put their mind at ease that if your film went through one CT scanner, it may be safe. But like I said previously, there's a lot of factors that go into it. But I think these photos came out pretty well, and obviously user experience may vary, and especially this is a half frame camera, so I do expect more grain and less resolution, and I did get more grain, but it wasn't that much. And I hope for people who are watching this that do have experience with CT scanners to comment down below and share your experience, and hopefully make people more comfortable and again solve a lot of people's curiosity. Also, please hit the subscribe button, and I have more videos planned, as well as reviewing the Pentax 17 and some of the photos I got on here, and I hope you have a great day.